Hello everyone, how's it going? This is SRY-in-advance, and today I have my long-awaited tribute video for Destiny 1. Now, I said I was going to make this video for today, and this is going to be my final Destiny video that's actually, specially created. So anyway, what you're seeing on screen is my first ever Destiny video. It was an update video that I made January 2nd, 2015, saying that I'm stopping to play Call of Duty and I'm actually moving on to Destiny. So anyway, the first series that I put in Destiny was a series known as my Heroic Strikes solo series, and this was my best series on my channel at the very beginning of it. I had 10 subscribers, and I was getting roughly 100 views per video, all because of this series, and I greatly, greatly credit the success on my channel to this series, and it was a series that I loved to do. Back in the day, there was only the Nightfall and the Heroics, and they were both the two things that you could solo in the game that were considered endgame content. So moving on, about a month later, I got into Crota's End and I got into raiding. This was by far my favorite raid to do. On screen, you're seeing one of my attempts to two-man Crota. This one honestly didn't go too well, as you'll see. Crota had a lot of glitches back in the day, but it was still my favorite raid. I absolutely loved it. As you can see, I got the Fatebringer really early as well. But that was my original journey. Was Crota's End, the Dark Below, just kind of playing through all the content. Crota's End was the first area that I finally started challenging myself within Destiny. I was very proficient at Crota's End, and as you can see, I soloed the raid quite a few times. This was the first time that I ever soloed Crota, and this was done roughly a month and a half after I bought the game. Now, this was by far the hardest thing I had done at the time, and it continues to live on as one of my favorite moments from Destiny 1, and it will probably be one of my favorite Destiny moments ever. Anyway, moving on, me and my friends continued to play Crota's End, and we continued to love the game for what it was. We ended up creating challenges like one-sorting Crota, and we continued to play Crota's End throughout the Dark Below, and had an absolute blast doing it. As you can see here, this was our one-sort attempt, which was the first time that I ever did that. I was a Titan main at the time, which is interesting because I actually started the game as a hunter. I started as a blade dancer, and then I moved on to a Titan because Titan was more fun. As you can see here, we finished off killing Crota with one sword, and this is going to go down as one of my big achievements within the game for the first time that I ever soloed the raid. Now, of course, during the Dark Below, it was a very, very slow time for content, and this meant that I had to find other ways of enjoying the game. So here you'll see this is me doing the Crucible. This is going to be my first ever Unbroken game. Now, this was a big, big accomplishment for me. I was extremely proud of this, and this is one of the first times that I realized that Crucible could be my actual home for content. And I continued with that train of thought. This was by far my favorite thing to do in the game since there was nothing else to do. So I would play a lot of Crucible. And Crucible was my home during this time. Moving on, we have the House of Wolves. House of Wolves was released late September or October of 2015. And for the first week before the House of Wolves released, we had the Great Ether Key Chase. Now, this was an amazing time to be in Destiny. It made the patrol missions actually pretty fun, and as you can see here, it gave us some rewards, not too many, but it gave us some rewards. And we could leave the area and come back, and it was a great time. It really made the game fresh again, and it made PvE fun. And now, when the House of Wolves was released, there was really only one thing to do, and that was kill Skolas. When he first came out, he had a little bit of a cheesy start with the fact that you could Gjallarhorn him and just absolutely destroy him in about 30 seconds. And this was the main strategy. As you can see, I stocked up on heavy ammo, and I was ready for this content. This was when the Gjallarhorn was extremely overpowered, and honestly, this was a broken fight at the beginning. It should have had more mechanics, and it should have been a better fight. But honestly, it is one of my favorite fights in the game. It still is, and it's a very enjoyable piece of content when you want to play it. House of Wolves also introduced the Trials of Osiris. Me and my team went flawless the very first week, got the Eye of Osiris exotic emblem, which is still the only exotic emblem in the game, and this was a great time for me. Now, House of Wolves also didn't bring too much content, unfortunately, so to keep the game fresh and fun, me and my friend Only Eat Apples went back, we did all the old raids, 2-man, and the hardest one by far was the Templar. As you can see here, this was our gameplay of us killing him, and it was a awesome time to go through and 2-man this raid. We absolutely loved it, and this was one of our favorite things to do. Just bust our balls against a wall until we couldn't do it anymore. Now, roughly 8 months later, they released the amazing Taken King DLC. This raid is the first raid where we went through and we didn't look anything up. We actually had a blast doing it. And this is our kill on Oryx. It took us 16 hours to do it straight from the beginning to the end. It was a blast to do it, and I had so much fun throughout all 16 hours of that raid, sorry. And I absolutely loved the shit out of this raid. By far my favorite raid at the time because it was my first one. Now, the Taken King was a very stale time again, and this was the first time I started dabbling with other gameplay. I started dabbling with Warframe, I started dabbling with Call of Duty, and I started dabbling with zombies. This was a interesting time for my channel. Unfortunately, very soon after I started posting all of this different types of gameplay, I realized that Destiny was going to be my home, and Destiny was going to be the place that I enjoyed and loved. So I came back and I went into the Crucible and I started doing montages. I hit clips like quad feeds, triple headshot feeds, collaterals, and I was really known as the sniper and montage maker within my group of friends, and it was a great time to be playing PvP. This is my perfect meta. I absolutely enjoyed it. Hand cannons were still usable. They weren't too broken anymore. Snipers were in a amazing spot. They were the best that they ever have been, in my opinion. And I got more Phantoms, more top tier gameplays than I ever had before. I had a 35 KD game, and that was the epitome of my Crucible dominance within Destiny 1. I had multiple gameplays where I went 20 plus kills, 30 plus kills, and every single Crucible game was fun. Now, the release of the Rise of Iron came quick for me and my team, and we absolutely loved this raid. This was another raid that we didn't look up any content, and it was Axis. Axis was an amazing, amazing boss. He was very mechanically challenging, but he was also very, very fun, and he brought something new to the Destiny community that we hadn't had before. Axis was an amazing boss that we all loved. It took us nearly 10 hours to complete this raid, and then hard mode came out like a month later, and that was also pretty fun. But this was the most viewed video that I ever had, my first video above 1,000 views, and it was a great time for my channel. My channel grew roughly 70 subscribers, and it was an amazing time to be doing YouTube for me. Later that month, we had the Vosic Challenge mode come out, and this happened to be my most viewed stream and most viewed video yet again. We had 170 plus people in the stream, and I had another video over 1,000 views, which was greatly appreciated. Ever since this time, I have been playing Destiny, and I've absolutely been loving it. I've played some other games during the time, like Siege, but I've always come back to Destiny. Destiny will forever be my home, and we're hot on the heels of the Destiny 2 beta, which is going to be coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and oh my god, am I excited for it. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to be having at least a 24-hour stream, and we will absolutely kill it. I will expect to see you guys there, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for supporting me over the last 3 years, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye!